We currently find ourselves at the greatest crossroads in human history. Not since the time of Manifest Destiny have we had the capability to embark on such an adventure. Space, the final frontier, which we have only just begun to explore, offers something which for some time now we've been lacking: adventure. Over the centuries, we have charted all over the globe until there was nothing left to explore. We then hit the height of the Cold War and found a new frontier: space. While it may have been driven by simply trying to beat the enemy to the moon, we accomplished the achievement in just over a decade. Over the subsequent Apollo missions, these astronauts were rock stars and inspired an entire generation to dream. Since those missions to the moon ended, we still went to space, but only the International Space Station. The public's interest began to wane, and then the Challenger space incident occurred. After that, we lost our ambition to keep exploring beyond the moon. Now, in modern times, interest has become anew from the private sector. Private companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin, pioneered by Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, are rekindling interest from the public. SpaceX and Musk specifically have the goal of one day having a colony on Mars and beyond. We currently have the capability, however, many question whether we should try to expand our species beyond Earth. As stated by Ann Nesterou, the billions, if not trillions, of dollars needed to colonize Mars would, for example, be better spent investing in renewable forms of energy to address climate change. While this is a valid point that we have environmental problems on this planet, there are two reasons why we can still do both. Firstly, the budget outlined on NASA website states that within the budget for 2020, almost $2 billion are allotted to Earth science. This includes research and satellite data, which monitors the changes to our world. This data is crucial and shows the largest surface area changes, which can only be seen from space. Secondly, NASA is no longer making spacecrafts and are allowing the private sector to bid for missions. This action of privatizing industry is allowing NASA to spend their budget on other areas that were not able to be spent when the space shuttle system was still running. This allows them to focus on science and engineering problems associated with space travel and come up with solutions. These solutions they made in the past have impacted our lives on Earth in ways that made it all better. From the memory foam bed you sleep on, to your cordless vacuum, to water purification and artificial limbs. All of these inventions were made possible by NASA's innovations to space. These innovations have impacted our planet in a drastic way and made everyday life easier. Another potential issue, according to Ann Nesterou, is the first argument against human travel to Mars is contamination. If humans do eventually land on Mars, they would not arrive alone. They would carry with them earthly microbes, trillions of them. There is a real risk that some of these microbes could find their way onto the surface of Mars, and in doing so confuse, and perhaps irreversibly so, the search for Martian life. While she brings up a good point, when it comes to the contamination, to this point we have found nothing on Mars. We have had robots on Mars for nearly a decade and have found no proof of life. We still do not have any functioning rockets yet able to take us to Mars, and likely will not for some time. While we are building these rockets, robots will continue to search for life, and we can adjust our landing strategies accordingly. In this matter, I agree with the philosopher Nick Bostrom, who stated, "But I hope that our Mars probes will discover nothing. It would be good news if we find Mars to be completely sterile. Dead rocks and lifeless sands would lift my soul." This outcome would be the best possible result for exploring the planet for humans. Another benefit of space travel to other celestial bodies would be the job opportunities that we would get from them. Many have been alluding to the idea that a boom will come from the economy from going into space. There will be the typical jobs for scientists, but there will also be a private sector that will come into play. Many are pointing towards asteroid mining as being a massive boom to the future economy because of the rare metals that are found within them. For instance, one specifically, 16 Psyche, has been estimated at around $700 quintillion, according to NBC News. This and other asteroids with precious metals could reign in a new era of prosperity. Lastly, there is the human cost that has to be factored in any time when discussing space travel. Rarely do things go according to plan, and you have to constantly adjust what you are doing. There is a possibility that some may die in an attempt to achieve space travel to Mars and beyond. This human cost is difficult to calculate. However, having our species on another celestial body allows us some breathing room for existential risks. If something happens on Earth and we have a total loss of life, we would be able still to have humans on Mars elsewhere in the solar system to continue humanity's quest. For these reasons, I believe we should keep exploring space and travel and bring adventure back into the world to mitigate existential crisis wherever from ourselves, a virus, or an asteroid, and to allow children, again, to one day perhaps dream of going to Mars and visiting the moons of Saturn and Jupiter, and to expand our knowledge of the universe we live in and to attain new heights of knowledge and wisdom.